Hey, homies. Actually, oh, never mind. My guy looks really, really cute. Okay, that's right. I gotta book my. This is actually the funny part. I'm actually gonna book my haircut tomorrow. Completely forgot to do that. Hopefully it's on tomorrow. Where is it? No. Oh, they're reopening on the 5th. Okay, well, I can do it next weekend. Hang on, make sure I am able to do it next weekend. Yeah, I should be able to. Okay, let's get that done. Okay, all confirmed, good to go. They also got to do other stuff as well, but not yet. Okay, there we go. I was just making sure that we could have a log shop. Okay, let's go. Not sure what to get with this one. Gonna get the Excel spreadsheet out for lumber. I guess so, we must be pretty close. This one we need to get 509. Okay, cool. And we're currently 457. Shit, we're actually very, very close. We're getting to Dragonflight today.
We need to get the Gorm infestation under control. Perhaps some of my magic can help you do it.
No. I think you turn into a cat and you just basically absolutely slice and dice people in here. Okay, there's the trees. Chop, chop. There you go. Good start so far. Got 3 out of 3 trees. We've, well, to be fair, the tree loot hasn't been pretty good. But, you know, as long as we keep a quick every, you know, at least one cut per minute, we're good to go. I'm just really surprised with all this tree farming that I've not been ganked at all. Like, really surprised. I expect someone to, like, gank me when I'm on the ground or whatever. Like, last time when I was, like, farming stuff like this pre-expansion and whatnot, I, like, doing things like leveling and whatnot, some guy, like, dedicated to ganking me, basically, for some of the time. So I was trying to level up my heritage characters. Like, when I got to Legion, basically. Like, all I did was just, I think it was, sorry, it was in BFA. All I did was just turn off war mode. And there's also a guy dedicated to ganking me as well when I was trying to do, like, dailies and whatnot in BFA as well for, like, you know, Azerite or whatever. And also had to do the mission in spite of him because, war mode's a 10% bonus. And also the guy was doing it because Alliance got a quest which gave them like extra loot items if they were like completely outnumbered. They completed that quest. Like there used to be Alliance groups on NA that they came to OCE to complete those quests because OCE outnumbered Horde on OCE. And then they would like get a gank team to complete that quest as well because they'd be eligible for it, like since they're severely outnumbered. And that's when Blizzard brought in the rule that was brought in per region rather than per based on the entire server cluster. Because people abuse it to no end. Like, you had like NA guilds going alliance purely to get that extra loot piece. And then go back to Horde for the racials. And like, they would have like raid teams basically doing the quest.
Walker, a few of my hunters are on patrol in Mistvale Tangle. It might do well for their morale if you were to accompany them.
Like, you would have like 5 to 10 guys basically circling you and then waiting after 20 seconds to kill you. Like, they would get you chain CC'd until you were no longer an honorless target, then kill you. That's how like it worked. There's also another guy back in the days where winning the Stranglethorn Veil contest was like really important back in the day. And they would like basically get Horde and Alliance. They would have both a Horde and Alliance tunes, and they would have gank squads for both factions, and then basically consistently gank the people trying to fish. So their mate would win the fishing competition. And what they would do, like, they would join the party pretending to be protecting that dude, and then suddenly the guy's ganked, essentially. And, like, by the time you caught on, it was just, you know, way too late. Like, it was way too late when you caught on. Yeah, I don't think I can go in there. I think that's a quest-only zone. There's also, of course, people camping the Arena Master. Back in the day, the Arena Master trinket was like actually a very good tank trinket. If it was in either BC or another expansion, that was actually a really good trinket. And what people would do is they'd camp the arena with like 20+ people non-stop to try and get one of the mates the achievement. Or so one of the mates the trinket. And even in Classic, as per se, because Classic was still a very strong trinket, entire guilds would go down there, basically. It was nuts watching entire guilds, like 40-man guilds, or 40-man raids, getting like one person their trinket. Originally, it was just a lot of people who were getting their twinks to trinket, because it's actually a very powerful absorb shield trinket. But no, like basically before CMC and BWL came out and all that jazz, there's like a lot of people farming it. And a lot of people just basically having a big war over an Arena Master trinket. I remember this area. This area is like a bonus objective or a quest objective. I think, yeah, I've done all the campaigns, so it wouldn't be here, but there's like a big fight here between like the Wild Hunt and the Drust. I gotta say, with adventure mode for Shadowlands, like Blizzard really, like, I think it was like, what was it called again? It was like the Threads of Fate or whatever it was, where there's a different way to level up where you could just do world quests instead in Shadowlands and you get no campaign. I felt like they did it very poorly in this expansion. Like they did it very poorly in Shadowlands. Well, here it is. Here's the quest here. The reason why I say that they did it very poorly is because like, if you went, it was actually quicker to level up via campaign than it was to do the Threads of Fate or whatever it's called, adventure mode. But like the only thing that you got as a benefit for doing the world quest is that you got the rep. for your specific faction, or got the things for your specific faction earlier, so you could put anima in and whatnot. Like for example, with Bastion and Covenants and whatnot, like you could, you know, ally yourself to a Covenant early on to get their abilities, but that's like the only benefit you got. It was actually slower to level for it. And that's where like people were getting really pissed off about, you know, very alt unfriendly expansions. Because like essentially it started with Legion, even though everyone harps on about how Legion's great and all that. Legion was a very alt unfriendly expansion. Like even though it was really fleshed out with all the professions having quests and whatnot, it was a very alt unfriendly expansion because if you had an alt, like there was no artifact power catch up. So like you had to have begun your alt very, very quickly to get the artifact power knowledge and stuff like that going for it. And like being behind an artifact power, especially early on when you're just building your artifact, was absolutely immense. It means that you didn't have like certain abilities and whatnot. And like you would do less DPS for it. Like for example, not having Wake of Ashes as a rep paladin was massive for a rep paladin. And it was actually kind of funny actually, because paladins in particular, like for their optimal DPS rotation, they had to respec the artifact tree, which actually costs you artifact power. I think I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was a very weird thing because they had to change it. You could respec your artifact whatever with gold rather than with artifact power, because rep paladins were like for their best DPS spec. Like as soon as you could get Wake of Ashes, it was better than any point you put into the other trees early on. Like that one point made it worth investing all of those crap talents to get to Wake of Ashes. So in the end, some rep paladins just straight up went up to invest in Wake of Ashes because they didn't want to spend artifact power and put themselves behind, even though it wasn't too far behind, it wasn't too much behind. They just didn't want to put themselves behind at all on artifact power. And not to mention as well, a lot of the quest lines were not account wide as well. So for example, obviously Nightborn being the top one. So like basically their reputation wasn't shareable around you know, everyone. And Nightborn was probably one of the more important reputations. To have. Because it obviously unlocked the teleports. Not that it allowed you to do Nighthold. Nighthold is account wide. But it unlocks like critical teleports and also as well Ancient Mana. What's the other one? Teleports. Oh yeah, those are like a few things in particular as well that it unlocked. That was relatively important. Oh shit. That was an accident. But those were the things that you missed out on. And not to mention as well, of course, as I said, you know, with certain DPS traits giving a lot of DPS, like it was really hard to get some raids because obviously you get kicked for low DPS, even though there is not much you can do to increase your artifact power. Like there was no spammable, like you say, like let's say there's no real spammable way of getting your artifact power up other than world quests and I think it was mythic zeros. Like there was no way where you could just spam, like say a dungeon for example, and get your artifact power up. And then later patches after Nighthold, it became a bit of a joke. But they kind of had to do that because, like, basically with artifact power in Nighthold, there was a trait after you got all your artifact traits that would increase your DPS by 5%, and every level after that was 0.5%. And like people were getting it to like 50 to 55%, stuff like that as well. That was like a significant increase in a lot of people's DPS. Now, obviously, when Legion 4 came out, stats made it a 1 ranked trait, and then new talents came out with Legion 4. And for example, if you hadn't been grinding artifact powers still at that stage, you wouldn't have got all the Legion Fall traits either. And then also there's another big trait called the Legion Fall, whatever it is, where you got a, I think it was a primary stat as a trinket proc. It was like basically primary stat increase. And that became the new maximum thing as well. And I think that's pretty much it where artifact power ended, because it just, you know, you just got higher and higher Legion Full stuff. And I think that was a limit in the end. I think it was like 20 or whatever it is. I'm trying to remember. But there was an end limit to it where like you didn't have to grind artifact power anymore. There we go. We're done. So we got 510. Okay, cool. Time for Dragonflight. Dragonflight time. So done all these expansions and we get into here. I'm trying to think what zone should I do it in. Obviously I gotta say probably Waking Shores and Russian Plains maybe. I'll find out, let's go. Oh yeah, that's right, I should probably get Dragonflight, herbing and mining. Oh yeah, I thought this was a mining area, but no it isn't. It's a I'm assuming mining and blacksmithing must be in here. No, it isn't. That's a transmog. I'm trying to find a blacksmithing vendor. I think for some reason it's up here somewhere. There it is. Surely mining will be around here, right? Now herbing, that's a new one. Where's the herb? I assume herbing will be here. Looks like a bit of a market. Inscription, there's alchemy. Herbing should be around here, right?
Well met.
There we go. The reason why I don't want to do Faldraxis is because Faldraxis has a lot of like up and down sort of shit. There we go, Dragon Pine Lumber. How much do we need? And where is the Dragon Pine Lumber? Oh, there it is. So we need about 561. Okay, cool. Oh, damn. This is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. This could be like classic, hopefully. It probably won't be like classic, but you know, I hope it'll be like classic. Just gonna say safely, I don't think there will be I don't think there will be trees in a Arctic cold hellhole that will be able to be logged. I see I'm on the edge. Yeah, I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge of glory. I love that song, by the way, by Lady Gaga. I'm on the edge with you. I'm on the edge of glory. It's a Holy Paladin song, okay? I'm on the edge. Or, here, you know, another word of glory, mate. Word of glory. The edge, the edge, the edge. Explorer in training. This is a Dragon Scale Expedition's first encampment, by the way. Let's go. Oh, there's the special herbs. I feel like I should have played Tauren Druid if I was going to play herbing. Let's get these infurious herbs. There we go, getting extra knowledge into Oh, I remember this area. This is like where you get the weekly quest to kill the elementals when you pick Civilian or whatever. And you would get, like, what you would get is you would get tokens to summon one of the bosses up in the main areas. We're going to be careful here, of course, because this guy can whack you out of platform. Also, not to mention as well, Earthcaller LeVay. You may remember her, obviously, from Cataclysm. She's one of the quests in Deep Home. The funniest one is obviously the gold mine. Obviously he gets up the ranks, but none of his elementals obey him and demand gold from him. Which is actually quite comical. Because obviously you meet him in both Deep Home, where you kill his fire elemental for Fiery Heart. And his elemental gets all pissed off that you didn't pay him. Which is actually quite funny. Oh, that's right. This is the first game that included knowledge into the game. Where is the axe in the tree? Oh, is it at the top? Oh, it is too. Oh crap, I didn't realize that. That's a plug here. Like, I'm okay with these, like, levels up and down, but I'm not okay with the other ones. Because, like, these ones, like, I only have to do one, like, up and one down. But in Feldrassus, I have to do, like, 3 fights going up to go anywhere.
Heroic fisher of old, befriended
No. You're not telling me that tale at all. Just trying to tell me the tales. Back in my day, I used to go up and down the streams to get to work in the Dragon Isles. Me. No, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I swear, with these, like, expedition backpacks, I swear there's only a specific amount of them you could get per week. Because, like, after you collect, let's say you collected, like, 10 or so, or 20 or so, they'll just disappear and you'll never see any again. But then, like, when the next week pops up, you would start seeing, like, 20 of them at a time. I was gonna say, isn't this? Yeah, Tarsarik. Okay, cool. I was gonna say, this is the Dragonflight people, right? Yeah. The Sundered Flame people. After this expansion, I just have one more expansion, which will be Dornagal. Under 1,000 wood needed now, by the way. 1,000, under 1,000 wood.
This space has become overly populated. Wrangle the wild drakes to our handlers, so we may take them to a more open land.
That has to be here. Yep. You just know you're getting places when you're getting, like, you know, closer and closer to this sort of shit where you're like, you know, like, you know, less than 100 away or whatever. And then the next part is I'm gonna have to get all the materials together and get someone to craft all of them. Which will be where the part we'll be spending gold on. And we might check which one's more cheaper to actually buy straight out rather than buy the nuts. It would be fun if it's like all of them and I'd be like, really? Oh, it's not here? Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, I'm like, what the fuck? How much have I got so far? Oh, doing pretty good. Over 50 so far. I think I need like 580 anyway, so it's gonna be a long one in Dragonflight. So, need 581. So definitely gonna be a long one. Not even like I am one. I guess I'm 1/10 in it. Ruby life pools. The dungeon that nobody. That dungeon that is pain. Holy shit. This dungeon in season 1 was just not fun, and like everyone was like gonna be like, oh my god, season 2 is gonna be so much worse because it has had a Halls of Infusion in it. Because Halls of Infusion was a painful mythic 0. Like, there are a few, like, Mythic Zeros that people were really thankful they weren't in the Mythic Plus for that season. I'm trying to think of what other Mythic Pluses there were. Like, there were some really, really good ones that season in, Season 1 of, Dragonflight. But there were some ones where, like, if you got it, it was just, like, Not Good Offensive was actually very, very good in that expansion as well. Because it was, like, a really, really, tame and like what do you call it, like, you know, it's a key that's very chill. I guess it was very chill, and like you didn't have to be ultra aggressive to time it and, like, you know, pull like 20 pulls at a time. Like with some dungeons where that was the case, where you had to do like a double pull or triple pull, like a risky double pull, triple pull if you want to time like a 10 or a 12.
For us and bring back stories of your exploits.
Yeah, I know where I am. I feel like I should probably do this quest before doing that. Before looking for logs. Funny thing is, at the moment, I've not got a single free at the moment. Not a single free log from Dragonflight. Let's go. And some good trees. 10% in at the moment with the chopping. But I gotta say, I don't think that's good enough. I want to be at least, before I go to bed today, I want to be at least halfway through Dragonflight. So let's push for that today. Halfway through Dragonflight, let's go. The funny thing is, I just like literally went outside of anyway, there you go. God, I feel like this this area is very torturous on the woodcutting. Yeah, this has to be the Orishan Plains, or maybe not. What am I going inwards or? No, I'm dancing on the border. I'm getting fruit thrown at me when I'm flying around. I don't understand who keeps doing that though. Like, you know, who's the NPC doing it? Like, all I see is this, okay? All I know is that it stains. Let's go. Easy peasy. Tick, tick, tick. We're actually doing relatively well at the moment. Couple in a few minutes. Every spawn is a potential, you know, good one. Yeah, I guess I felt like we were going deeper and deeper into Osharan Plains. Probably one of the better. Oh, I'd say it could be one of the better zones for it. I remember giving the first initial potential that the rare materials came off rare mobs here, where I found out every rare mob that I killed in Dragonflight, on a daily occurrence, was I always did it, gave me all one hide or whatever it is. And then I remember kept killing rares and rares over and over again. They would always give me a hide first go, even some of the rares that didn't become rares sort of thing. And that's what got me involved with the War Within, on identifying all the non-rare rares that can give you shit. There you go, Severite. I just realized I'm in the Dream Search. Okay. Nothing much, young ruler dude. Nothing much. Just farming the logs. We got finished Shadowlands earlier today, so now we're doing Dragonflight, and then yeah, I expected this to take a lot longer. By the way, okay, I didn't expect to be I was expecting, oh, maybe I can get, you know, a few expansions done here and there, but I didn't expect to be pretty close to be finishing. Please don't hit me. Nah, fuck it, we're gonna kill him. I didn't expect to have all this done almost by around at this time, because I haven't put too much into it. I think I only put well, probably about 4 or 5 days into it at max. And they haven't been full days, they've been partial days, because I've obviously been going out. So yeah. But otherwise been pretty good at the moment, you know, basically bit of a down thing though is that I may have to take my name off Urban Riga for the Stepify games because of reasons. I'll probably discuss them a bit later after I discuss with other casters and what's going on there. But to put it simply, after what Ben, if Ben's able to help me out, to put it simply, they're obviously haven't been told this deal is confidential or anything like that. But they want me to pay for the CSTVs. They want me to pay for, the CSTVs that they give out to me. And I don't really have any, business venture on how to recoup that cost, as per se. So, yeah. And I don't want to ask for other people to come and help me out for it and whatnot, but, yeah, I'd also, as well, at the same time, I don't want to give, I don't want to give them, a precedent or anything like that, where they'd be oh yeah, this caster accepted payment for CSTV access. I just don't want to do that, you know? And I asked whether I'll get any observers or anything like that, or do I have to do it myself, and it was you have to do it yourself, and I'm just yeah. So yeah, and it's quite, it's not you know, let's say for example, it's not $10 AUD per map. It's quite expensive. So yeah. You know, let's just say I had a really good channel, was getting a lot of subs and whatnot during it. Yeah, that's just a, you know, just a easy cost for it. I don't think they're scamming. You know, they are providing an event, and they would be providing me a CSTV that no one else would have. Like, it's more exclusivity sort of thing. But it's just like, it's not... Like, it's not beneficial for me. Like, in any capacity, it's not beneficial for me. Because if I wanted to cast games and whatnot, like in that region, I could just cast ESA Advance, and that's for free. But then again, obviously, Urban League is a tournament that's, I guess, you know, fucking advances VRS rating too, as well. But yeah. It's kind of likely that I'll say no to it, but we'll see what see if Ben can help me out on, like, you know, trying to, being like he's only going to cast these sorts of games, and stuff like that. Because, like, realistically speaking, you know, I think it's a certain amount USD, and it's like, yeah, I'm paying this much USD, and I'll probably cover, let's just say, for example, potentially 3 or 4 games at max. I saw 7-5 coming to USA. Yep. Ben told me straight up, like, Ben's training so straight up, it's because, like, they need the land points. So, like, they need to go to all these events like Philadelphia and whatnot. They've got real no choice. And it's also as a reaction to what the sub-region is doing in Asia. Where, like, if you don't know, you know, there's been a lot of Chinese and Mongolian tournaments literally booked just before the major. And I agree with Ben on this, by the way. He has mentioned this a few times. But basically, a lot of the sub-region in the Asia region are like booking a sub-region only tournament, a VRS rated event, very close to the like, say, made like the critical invite dates. And Ben said, like, that's a load of bullshit, because, like, Semper Fi can't participate in this tournaments because they are like Mongolian only or Chinese only, but they're designed to promote their Chinese teams or Mongolian teams VRS rating based on the land rating. So if you're understanding from my POV in particular, and he was talking about the Void Master tournaments and a few other tournaments as well, where like Semper Fi would love to participate, but since the region's a sub-region based tournament, and like teams like Rare Atom and shit like that are going, you know, he's a bit cheesed off. So that's why he's going to like all these EU tournaments and NA tournaments. And I basically said to him, like, yeah, that's what you kind of have to do. And he's not happy because obviously, like, I can understand he's not happy, and I wouldn't imagine him to be happy about this as well, because he has to fork out a lot more compared to the Chinese and Asian tournaments, particularly, where they can just organize a tournament like Mesa or Void League or whatever the fuck it is, and they can get their land VRS points refreshed like that, while Semper Fi has to travel to the USA and Europe to get their land, you know, points, which obviously is more cost. Now, just an FYI, I did raise that as a concern with being able to have sub-region based tournaments, is that some regions will basically organize VRS rated tournaments for their sub-region, let's say 1 or 2 days before the major invites go out. And then invite teams like, for example, Eruption, Rare Atom, Huns, and vice versa, like teams that are on the cusp of making the major, but, you know, kept out, let's say, by Semper Fi or something like that. Because, like, Semper Fi is probably being the team that's mostly affected by this. But I gotta say, I don't think it's a... Like, even though they are being affected, and it definitely is consequential, I don't think they would qualify for the major. Let's just put it that way, okay? Like, I don't think even if the VRS point system was correct, they would qualify for the major. But they would be a lot closer in doing so by doing this. So let's put it this way, Young Ruler. So what's happening is that you get extra VRS points depending on the amount of lands you attend, up to 5 lands. So you get like extra bonus points for attending a land, doesn't matter where you place. And like in the Mongolia and China regions, there's a lot more land tournaments to allow that buff to come in. That's why teams like Rare Atom and the Huns and whatnot had so many points, despite being absolutely like, you know, had so many VRS points, despite being absolute cheeks at the major. It's because they had these little sub-region events which they all attended. And like I said, I do agree with Ben on that. Like, you know, I'm very disappointed to see that. Like, I wouldn't be disappointed if there was opened up beyond, you know, Mongolia, China sub-region. I wouldn't care, and Ben wouldn't care either. But it's the fact that certain TOs keep doing that, where they'll organize a Mongolia only or a China only event literally 2 to 3 days before the invites go out for another big tournament. Like not including the major, obviously, but you know, that's that sort of thing as well. And I haven't talked to Sticker on how much he earned from stickers, and so I've got to take this with a grain of salt. But you know, they could be losing potentially millions of sticker money that could be used to go to other tournaments because they're getting, you know, they're getting taken out of the major because of how people organize their VRS events. But like, you know, obviously Semper, you know, with setting up an org which is not really backed by a lot of big teams in particular, and obviously Ben taking a lot of risks and making a lot of big decisions in particular. Obviously he's not too popular in the domestic area after what they did to X-Talon. With obviously taking Hazard and Addict out mid-season, just an FY. Like they bought out their contracts mid-season. That made Talon have to forfeit their last few ECL Cup games. Like not like, it's more like bad optics than anything. So yeah. And I gotta say, like, a lot of the a lot of the other stuff in particular, like I'm gonna say, with Simplify, like I gotta say, if it doesn't succeed, a lot of the really difficult choices they had to make are gonna come out, I reckon. And I gotta say, Semperfi are very unfortunate that they that the system changed just as they got into the thingo where they have to grind VRS points. Like I'd say, over Australian team, it is very hard to grind VRS points because they have to go international, and that's it. Like, you know, it's a big risk to go international. Like, there's a lot of teams, Australian teams especially, if they succeed and whatnot, they will get picked up by a big international organization. But Semperfi, I'm not sure if they will. Like, if someone wants to pick them up, I'm not sure if someone would, or what, you know, what's the objective of that organization. Like, for Mind Freak in particular, MJ has made it clear that, like, you know, his org is just there to give them a stepping stone in Australia to get to international scene, and if someone picks them up, they pick them up. So yeah, like, you know, I have a feeling that's like it's for Semperfi is really, really against them. Like more like internationally and whatnot. I do hope they succeed. Like I say, the chances of their success is very low. Like to get anywhere. Because like at the moment, even FlyQuest is on the outside looking in to a lot of these tournaments. And Semperfi is quite a margin away from FlyQuest and their ability. But we'll see how these opening tournaments go basically for them. And at the end of the day, even if they don't win, like if they don't get as far as I expect them to go, I think I was a bit harsh on them saying they should get at least in the top 4, but I reckon they'll probably get at least, like hopefully they can get to the top 6 and then play some playoffs. But either way, like every LAN event is actually really huge for them because they get that LAN buff regardless. Like they get the VRS LAN buff. And if they do get into playoffs and if they do get, you know, further across the line, even much better. Do you think Regalia will be sold? I would say overall, if FlyQuest get a good enough offer, yeah, they'll probably take it. And to be fair, at the end of the day, with FlyQuest, like FlyQuest don't control where Regalia walks. If they buy out Regalia, I have no idea about the contracts, but if they, you know, if there has a buyout clause or whatever it is, and someone just straight up buys them out, well, they can't do anything about it. But like, you know, definitely Regalia would be one of the pieces like that's like if tier 1 teams or tier 2.5 or tier 1.5 teams are looking for an AWPer option, I wouldn't see why Regalia wouldn't get a look by some of these teams. Because like as I think it was Quack and as T-Time said, like T-Time actually mentioned as well as talking about another AWPer, is that Regalia was, you know, it was pretty much carrying that FlyQuest team when they weren't performing well. Like Regalia was performing absolute miracles for that team, so he's got that potential there. And now, like, you know, he's having a bit of a obviously a burden share with JKS. Where both him and JKS are like, you know, can win rounds for his team and whatnot, which is, you know, obviously critical for a lot of teams where you want every single team member to be able to win a round for you. But like, I don't think I'm gonna say right now, I don't think FlyQuest will willingly sell Regalia. Like, I don't think they will, like, you know, they're shopping him around, whatever. I don't think they would do that. I think that if he's wanting to leave and wanting to be sold elsewhere, he will go elsewhere. In particular, it won't be FlyQuest doing it basically or encouraging it. FlyQuest would definitely prefer Regalia to stay in the team. Because the hard part is for a FlyQuest afterwards, where can they find another AWPer if Regalia does leave the team? It leads them to, like, you know, another ship. Why not bring back Alistair? Alistair is, I guess overall, Alistair's just not good enough in the international scene. Like, from the firepower perspective, he's just not good enough. Like, he smurfs the domestic scene, but he's just not good enough for the international scene. They'll most likely go for another international AWPer, then look at the local scene.
Looks like you could all use some resources. There's a saying for this: survival of the fittest.
And I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be looking elsewhere. Like, I'd be looking at potentially targeting a Swede or a Dane, because obviously they have some decent AWPers and they also speak English. So, like, for example, I'd say look at Era, who plays, look at Era at the moment. I'd say look at like a few Danish and if not, look at CIS AWPers that speak English. Like, I wouldn't imagine that Dexter was definitely talked to by FlyQuest at some point before they picked up Regalia. So yeah. Like, just an FYI, guys, okay? If you guys are coming in and being, oh man, this guy's talking shit about Ali and whatnot, okay? I'm not meaning to the players personally that, you know, the players are mature enough to understand this, but I'm not saying, like, you know, they'll never be able to reach that level or they could increase to that level. Like, you know, I like all the players in particular, okay? Because I know some people take it personally and they get fucking DMs about it. Not from, funny enough, not from the players. The players never DM me about it. But, like, I'm happy to be proven wrong. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to say. I'm happy to be proven wrong. So yeah, I wouldn't bring Regali back in particular. Like, if I'm gonna go for anyone, it would be probably International Warpath, because I just don't think Alistair's up to it, to be honest. Alistair would be like the ultimate desperation move. They've got nobody that they can get. Oh, fuck's sake. I knew that was gonna happen. Put Damio in FlyQuest? I don't think they need another rifler on FlyQuest at the moment. Damio is quite good, but like I don't think they need another rifler on FlyQuest. I think they're rifling cool. I think overall, like, so yeah, as much as I'd like Damio to compete internationally with his brother, yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Ground Zero in particular, like, Ground Zero could compete internationally, but they just have to work out their issues when under pressure. Or under stress or stuff like that. Because literally, man, like, fucking hell, watching them when they're, like, you know, close to match point, or, like, you know, in a 2v2 or 3v3 situation, and almost lose it, like lose it, like, about 60-70% of the time, or have a two-man up scenario and blow it. Oh my god. Their rounds give me heart palpitations half the fucking time, like, my god. Like, them against Ground Zero, like, you know, they would, you know, them against Ground Zero against Rooster and fucking Semper Fi back in the day, like, obviously last year. You know, they'd smurf all these other teams like Mindfreak, KZG, you know, beat them like 13-3, 13-4. And they get up to like Semper Fi and fucking Rooster. They completely shit the bed, lose about like 4 or 5 man up scenarios, lose like 13-5, 13-7. And then you look at the game and they're like, oh wow, it wasn't actually as one-sided. It was fucking Ground Zero throwing fucking 4v2s and 3v2s all the time, over and over again. And you may think I'm, like, you know, ragging on them and saying that they're crap or anything like that. But no, I'm actually legitimately fucking frustrated because I want them to do well. Like, I want Apog Dud to do well. I like Tom. I like Daniel. I like Omachella. I like Greg and Vision and all that. It makes me fucking want to put my fist through a fucking wall every time they blow those scenarios, man. You know, that's the big issue. Like, that team is, you know, if you look at the Ground Zero, like, neutrally, that team is performing way beyond the sum of its parts. Like, way beyond the sum of that parts. You look at the players and be like, oh yeah, Armacella's pretty good. Daniel's pretty good. Vision's pretty good. Yeah, PC's an alright AWPer. And you see them, like, you know, getting toe-to-toe with, like, Chingus on Dust 2. Even though it was like a 13-2 scoreline. Like, they had so many opportunities to win rounds and that completely fucked Chingis' economy. And they just threw the rounds. It's you know, it just hurts. It really does hurt. But that's the team I would like to do well. Is definitely Ground Zero. I think all the Australian scene knows like how like passionate I am and how like frustrated I get as well. And there's another team, obviously Mind Freak. You know, I wish the best for them as well. Like that you know, always like a team like that. Like, you know, really put, you know, getting some the veterans giving some advice to the younger players in particular. Now, obviously, I'm super biased to DPR because I think DPR gets talked about so little. Like, when you go to a death section, DPR's work goes really, really under the radar. On what he's doing in particular, like playing the shit roles and whatnot, and still getting a semi-decent scoreline. And not to mention as well that DPR's gone from an AWPer to a rifler as well. And has made that transition quite well. I think I'm just biased, you know, let's just put it that way. I think I'm just probably a bit biased. But mate, oh my god. And also, I like Ground Zero because obviously Jai Richardson, the Perth Scorchers fast bowler, an Australian fast bowler, co-owns Ground Zero, if you didn't know that. His username is GZ Jar. So if you ever see GZ Jar in the Ground Zero in the chat, that's Jai Richardson. So yeah. Well, you know, at least you got me more energetic and more passionate. Because seriously, that's how I feel about fucking Ground Zero. I really want them to do well. Okay, I really want them to do well. But fucking hell, they infuriate me to no end at times. Okay. Not you know, it's just losing the rounds, man. Okay, it's just losing the rounds. Ooh, get 231. Shit, I didn't think I'd had that much lumber. But yeah. Simplify though, I gotta say Simplify have definitely done a lot better. They had a BO5 against Good Fun Down. Didn't they win that? That's what I meant. Like, I don't think they had a good BO5. They had a great BO5. To be fair, I literally was like sitting there being like, Fun and Down Under, you guys are fucking underperforming. Like, you guys should be smashing. Like, if you're seriously gonna try to contest as a Australian team, you should be smashing Ground Zero. But I think I actually did say that. Like, you know, you can't be like, you know, if you're trying to seriously be a team that's like, you know, top 2, top 3 in the region, you have to be beating Ground Zero. Like, I think I did make a comment on that game, and I'm just like, how do you guys, like, you know, you guys are so much better than Ground Zero. Like, you guys should not be losing this. And of course, they lost. Because I think Thunder Down Under, for the players they've got, they should be flattening a lot of teams. Like, you know, they've been doing that so far against certain teams, but like, they should be flattening a lot of teams. They should be straight out, being able to just out-aim them and basically F them up the arse. But like, yeah, that loss against Ground Zero, that wasn't a good look. They're a brand new team. I guess say overall, like, you can say that. But like, their pure aim power that they got should really just flatten any team. Like, for example, give Ground Zero a Alistair and fuck me, they'll go, like, beyond quite a bit. And, like, not to mention as well, like, they do have, like, a lot of the roles that they need to have. Like, for example, they do have ASAP, they do have a solid anchor if they do need a solid anchor. And they also do have a relatively decent star player in ASAP as well. The only concern I had for them in particular was, like, where's your young shooter? You need a young shooter later on down the track to try and be able to, well, not lift a team, but basically being the main linchpin or the main, like, not draw card, but the main, like, yeah, linchpin's probably the right word for it. Like, the main linchpin where they can launch, like, a 30 or 40 kill game, basically. And then in the close end rounds or whatever it is, like, the veterans are the ones that really shine out. Like, there's no, like, Molodoy or Donk or whatever it is, like a young player that has, like, crazy potential in that team. And, like, other than ASAP, of course, I feel like they need another one. And obviously, with Rooster losing ASAP and TJP, I mean, to no one's surprise, they'll get worse. But I gotta say, like, hopefully they still stay somewhat competitive, but they will definitely be worse. Rooster are a strange bunch, to be honest, because last time when they lost Nedic, like, they fell off the face of the fucking earth and lost to, like, teams that they shouldn't be losing to. Even with losing Nedic, like, they have decent firepower in that roster still. Like, even I haven't heard anything from Ben about, like, what's happening. I think we're taking a paycheck on that, a raid check on it. To be fair, I feel bad now because, like, people will be like, oh, Josh just dumped it because, like, you know, he just didn't have the time or whatever it is. But it's like, when people realize, like, they were trying to make me pay, like, $220 AUD to cast the game, so they'll understand and be like, no. Like... I always get concerned about how I look at optics and whatnot as well, especially when I was casting, is because, like, you know, even if you're completely right in causing a stink about something, like, even if you're completely right, you know, you were 100% justified in causing a stink. All it takes is someone to make up some crap and bull story, and they believe those people first. That you're not a good person to work with. Like, I just remember the Seaside video where where certain casters were telling TOs that Seaside had retired from casting. It was quite humorous, okay? Because Seaside obviously retiring from casting because he wasn't getting any gigs, and he asked one of the TOs, "Oh yeah, why didn't you reach out to me?" And then they said, "Someone said you retired." And Seaside's like, "That's news to me." So yeah. Because he made a video if he was like quitting casting, and he was going into coaching, and like he was like, you know, first of all, fuck you, and also thank you, because he obviously is getting paid now. He was getting paid now at that stage as a coach. Because he was like, first of all, fuck you, but second of all, thank you as well, because now I'm gonna quit and become a coach. Chop, chop, dig, dig, chop, chop, dig, dig. That's what this reminds me of. Okay, that Simpsons episode. We're almost halfway through Dragonflight at the moment, I think. So I think Dragonflight, we need 580. We're close to being halfway through. I'm starting to think maybe I should play CS2 for a bit. But also at the same time, I don't feel like it either. I feel like I would rage out after like the first 2 days of like streaming it. People have been asked because I joined the WA like Pug Discord for it. So, you know, getting to know like the WA scene a bit more because I hadn't really known, I guess, the WA scene. And there's a lot of Discords that, you know, I was a part of and whatnot. There's also a Discord for like all the AU, ANZ teams and whatnot that I didn't know about for like 6 to 9 months until someone told me about it. So yeah. Like to be fair, like it was I don't know, man, like, you know, I look back at my early years of casting and whatnot, and I gotta say I had such a good time with like doing the EU side and whatnot and the AU side. But as I said, still to this day, that I'm still like, still disappointed that like with how it started in particular. Like where I like, just an FYI, so during the start of my AU casting, I had a better relationship with ESL in Europe, like a relationship with casting games and whatnot, than I did with ESL in Australia. Like ESL and LPL as well, where like ESL and LPL, there was like no lines of contact between me or them at all. Like, I was just so disappointed in that. That I just, you know, that never got running and that never got going. And I think I should have definitely done that sort of thing.